Hello, amazing people who have decided to try out my new app, Shed. My name is Michael McLaughlin. I am the creator of this app. And now let's just get right into the video. So first of all, right when you open the app, this is the screen you'll see. It might be a different size. It might look like this, or it might look like this, or it might look like this. I don't know. Whatever your heart desires. But the point is, you'll see some semblance of this. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is go straight into your preferences and set your daily goal. So for the purposes of this video, I've set my daily goal to a measly 1 minute, but I hope you're practicing for more than 1 minute. So hopefully you're utilizing this hours function, but 1 minute for us. Now, appearance, you can choose between your system setting, light, and dark mode. I prefer the dark mode, so we're going to stick with the dark mode. Next is our metronome volume function, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's the volume of the metronome. And window glass, which is transparency. So this can be useful, like let's say you're watching a YouTube video, but you want to keep the shed window open. You could still watch your YouTube video through the transparent glass. But let's keep it around 75%. Now, backup. As you'll see momentarily, you can really stack this app up with a bunch of PDFs, tracks, transcriptions, whatever you need to do. And this backup function makes it so we can export all of that at once and put it onto a new computer or somebody else's computer. You can send practice routines back and forth to each other, all of that. So, pretty cool function, in my opinion. I am a little bit biased though because I created it. But anyways, now to escape any of these pop-up menus, clicking out of it, as you can see, does absolutely nothing. So we're not going to do that. We're going to hit escape. Now that our settings are all perfect, let's go over some quick keyboard shortcuts. So you'll notice hitting M on your keyboard starts our metronome right up, and hitting Command T on our keyboard brings up our tuner. So at any moment, completely app wide, if I hit M, starts our metronome up. If I hit Command T, starts our tuner up. Now, let's go over this checklist function real quick. So checklists. As you can see, I already have a couple lists. I'm a saxophonist, so that's why I have a saxophone list. But let's go on this sample list. So creating a list is pretty self-explanatory. You just type here and press enter, whatever you need to do. So here is our sample list where we have banana. Great. Now let's add apple and orange. And as you can see, even though we're adding them after banana, because they are not checked off, they are still on top of our banana. If we uncheck the banana, it comes right back up. Cool. Now we can search for items on the list, but most notably, you can import a CSV file. So for example, me as a jazz saxophonist, let's say I want to learn 50 standards. I do not have to spend all of my time writing all of those standards in this list. However, I could if I wanted to. But what's a lot easier is putting it into a spreadsheet using the template provided on shedmusic.org and then simply importing that spreadsheet right here. So, that's how the checklist function works. Pretty helpful. You can keep track of what you need to do. Now let's hit escape to exit that menu again. Now we have our sidebar function here, pretty self-explanatory as well. Here is our interval section. So this is where we can actually build a practice routine. This is the fun part. So I happen to have a Mountain Dew right next to me. So we're going to build a practice routine on how to drink Mountain Dew. So the first thing you're going to do, the first thing we need to practice is serving ourselves our Mountain Dew. We're going to practice that for 10 seconds. Then we're going to practice putting the straw in the cup. We'll practice that for another 10 seconds. Then we'll practice putting the lid on the cup, which we'll practice for 5 seconds. But wait, you're supposed to put the lid on the cup before you put the straw in the cup. Otherwise, it's really hard to put the straw in the cup. So we need to edit that, and we can simply rearrange our intervals. Alright, so in reality, the function for this would be like long tones, scales, whatever you need to do in your practice routine. Alright, But for the purposes of this video, it's about Mountain Dew. Now, again, using the templates provided on the website, you can simply create a spreadsheet and upload that practice routine directly into here, and you'll see it all pop up beautifully, in which case you can simply go to routines and save it as a routine. But before we do that, one more function. Once we upload a PDF in this PDF menu, we can do some fun things. So we can assign a BPM to this interval. So let's assign this interval to be 160 BPM, and we'll also assign it to have this PDF, which is Alfred's Group Piano for Adults, which pairs beautifully with serving ourselves our Mountain Dew. Now, our routine is ready. Let's save it. So we're going to go back to our routines. We're going to name it Mountain Dew. We're going to hit enter. It'll automatically save. Now, I can feel confident in that even when this is all gone, I can simply load it back up. Now I have everything back here, and I can start my routine. So first, before I do that, I'm going to start my practice session. So now my practice session has started, and I simply hit start interval.
Serving ourselves our Mountain Dew.
And as you can see, my PDF has loaded right here. And not only that,
Putting the lid on the cup.
our metronome has changed to 160.
Putting the straw in the cup.
Automatically as well. Now, we'll stop all of that because we are not actually learning how to serve ourselves Mountain Dew in the moment. But that is essentially how practice routines work. Now let's pause our daily goal because we're not there yet. We're going to quickly go over our utilities function, and then we get to the fun parts. Alright, so now we are here at our utilities menu. And as you can see, it's really not too much to go over. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, you can press M, start your metronome, or stop at any time, Control T, but utilities menu has a built-in metronome here anyways. So here we can change our time signature. We have a bunch of options. If you don't see your option here, well, tough luck, buddy. Anyways, you can also tap BPM, whatever you need to do, and we have mic monitoring. So this is for horn players like myself or singers who want to hear themselves when they practice when they have headphones on. So if I hit this monitor button, you can probably hear two of me right now, which is probably a little annoying. So I'm going to turn it off. As you can see, that's how that works. Pretty simple. Now, MIDI chord monitor does exactly what you think it would do. Anyways, MIDI chord monitor. If you have a separate VST going at the same time, you simply hit this sound button. It'll turn off. If not, it plays a beautiful sine wave that's faded. Oh, that was ugly. Anyways, it'll show you the chord you're playing. So for example, C major 9, and it'll tell you the notes right next to the quality that you're playing. The notes in that chord. So as you can see, it says C, B, D, E, G. There's our C major 9. That's how that works. Again, pretty self-explanatory. If things are lagging, simply hit this refresh button. Now, that's about it for utilities. Moving on, this is the real juice, the real meat of the app, which is our transcription menu. So in our transcription menu, the first thing we need to do is import audio. So we're going to take Just Friends. This is the Charlie Parker with strings version. If you know ball, you know this version. Now, let's rename it Just Friends. And this, just like that, will live as is inside our Shed app indefinitely until we delete it. Now, within here, the first thing you'll notice is there's a switch called Hover Play. Now, what this does is wherever we're hovering from, it'll automatically play from there when we press play or spacebar. So that's how that works. Now let's say we want to loop a section. First of all, let's zoom in. So we're going to zoom in right here. Wherever we select, our zoom bar will automatically lock and center in on that position. So let's say we're over here, it'll automatically find our playhead and center on it. So let's say I want to transcribe that little lick. I can either drag and it'll automatically create an A and B, or I can, on my playhead, hit A, hit B, and then L for loop, or hit this switch, but I suggest pressing L for loop. And now cool. And as soon as I hit L again, it will no longer loop that section. Now, moving on. Speed, obvious adjustments. Lowering the speed bar, making it less, makes it slower. Pretty self-explanatory. You can see your percentage right here. You can also reset back to 100% right here. And it goes all the way up to 150%. Now, plus or minus 5 seconds, transposition menu. So, again, pretty self-explanatory. Cool. So that's how transcription basically works. There's one other function which I think is pretty cool, which is our bookmark function. So let's say I want to bookmark this lick that we just found right here, right? I want to hit add bookmark, and now I have a bookmark. If I want to rename it, I can rename it cool lick, right? Or whatever I want to rename it. And now it doesn't matter where I'm at in my transcription, I can always jump back to this point. Pretty cool. Okay, so now we are in our PDF menu. As you can see, I already have Alfred's Group Piano for Adults as a PDF loaded up here. But for the sake of this video, let's rename it to Cheese. So here we have our Cheese PDF. And what goes well with Cheese? Just Friends by Charlie Parker. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click Cheese, and we can assign a track that we've loaded up in this tracks menu. Right? So we're going to assign it Just Friends. And now when we open up this PDF, we have this play bar that comes up here. So even within the app, right? First of all, I'm going to extend this so I can actually read the whole page. And again, I can make it smaller, whatever I need to do. Turn pages here. And as you can see, there is a bunch of nonsense filler words before we get to any musical content whatsoever. So now we've gotten to some musical content. But let's say I don't want to have to scroll through every single time I open up the app. What can I do? I can bookmark. So let's say I want to bookmark this miniature waltz. I'm going to hit this plus bookmark button, and I'm going to call it Mini Waltz. Cool. Now, it doesn't matter where I am in my PDF, I can always come back to my Mini Waltz. And not only that, let's pretend this is Just Friends by Charlie Parker. I can hit play. And I can adjust the speed. So this is great for practicing whatever you need to practice. Yeah, pretty cool. One more function, we have a tag function. So let's say I want to create a tag. We're going to call this piano because it is for piano. We'll create the tag. Now I can tag this piano. Now let's say I had a bunch of PDFs and they were all tagged to different things. I can simply sort by my tags and only see the ones that I've tagged, whatever I'm selecting. Now, moving on. Tracks. So, this is a recently revamped section, so it's pretty experimental, but this whole app is pretty new and experimental, so to be expected, I feel like. But anyways, when you open up tracks, you'll see this add track function. Now, it works exactly the same way as the PDFs. In this case, the only thing I've done is gone ahead and already added Just Friends, which is why you saw it in the PDF menu earlier. Now, you'll see this 251 practice generator, which is pretty cool. It uses the same sine wave from our sine wave generator in utilities. So our MIDI chord monitor uses that exact same sound, and it generates 251s for us to practice on. So in this case, I have C major normal speed at 160 BPM. So I could practice my 251s, right? And now I can change that to whatever key I want to change it to, and I can change the quality to be a minor 251 as well, which is pretty useful. Anyways, now let's say I want to sync that to the metronome. Well, you'll very quickly notice that if it's playing and I turn on the metronome, that's all out of whack, right? So very important, the metronome has to be going, as it says right here, the metronome has to be going before we start the 251 track, and then it'll sync up beautifully. Look. Wow, beautiful. So there's our minor 251 in C. We can do it in G, whatever key you want to do it in. Now let's say you're practicing a scale and you want to utilize this chord hold button. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it to whatever chord we want. So in this case, I want to set it to F major 7 sharp 11. Ooh. So there's our F major 7 sharp 11. I can run my F Lydian over that scale and hear how it'll work harmonically. Now let's say you want to randomly pick a scale. You'll hit this dice button. It'll give you a scale, and you don't know what chord or what scale goes with this chord. Well, you're in luck, because the only thing you need to do is hit this little I in a circle, and it'll tell you the chord tones, the color tones, and good scales that work over this in order of, what's most common. So we have our G flat mixolydian, G flat dominant bebop, G flat blues scale, and G flat altered dominant scale. So pretty cool function, pretty proud of that one for sure. So let's just do an example. E flat major 7, E flat Ionian, E flat Lydian, and G minor pentatonic. So let's play our E flat Lydian scale. And you can see how it works harmonically. Now, this, pretty simple. It just plays tracks. Now that's about it for the app, I think. I don't think I'm missing. Oh, one more thing I'm missing. Menu bar functions. So let's go over some menu bar functions. First of all, if you go all the way up here to the menu, can you guys see? Is that even in the... Okay, well, you know what? If you can't see it, pretend you could see it. It says shed on the top left. Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta do this. I got it. Okay, cool. So now hopefully you'll be able to see this top left. So file, you can open a new window, import and export your backup from here. Now none of these do anything except this will open whatever section you want. Shortcuts and tips. So whenever you forget, a shortcut, it's all up here. Cool. Now let me move the camera back to the right side. Cool. Okay, yeah, this is a really wide monitor, so that's why I have to do that. But anyways, now you'll see shed on the menu bar up here. Let's say I'm watching a YouTube video, so I actually have a sample YouTube video pulled up. We're watching this scared cat eating a cucumber, okay, or hopefully you can see that on my screen. Oh, but actually, I also want to practice music while I watch this video. Well, lucky for you, I have just the app for that. You're going to go up, you're going to go to the menu bar, you're going to hit shed. Okay, first of all, we're going to play our video. We're going to hit shed, and boom, you can see our session timer, which is paused, but we can even start it from the menu bar. Our interval, whatever interval we're at. our metronome, and we have a tuner right in the menu bar.
Yeah.
Now you can also open another part of the app in the menu bar, but you know, all that pretty self-explanatory, pretty useful actually if you enjoy watching things in full screen, but you also want to be able to practice. If you're like me and your attention span can't handle doing one thing at once, well then this is the app for you. Anyways, I think that goes over pretty much everything. There are some little hidden functions, for example, interval timer. If I can restart this interval by right clicking, I can also skip to the next interval. I don't think I'm missing anything. I think I got everything. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is no, I'm not going to say it, but it'll be on the website. All right, you can find my email on the website. Thank you so much for downloading Shed, and I hope you guys enjoy the app.